So I was gonna make this video. It's been about a little bit less than a year in the making. So I was originally trying to enlist last year of 2024. I went down to LA MEPS. It is everything that everyone has said. It is like the DMV. If you've ever been to the DMV, everyone knows they hate going to the DMV. It was very much hurry up to wait. So I went to the hotel. Well, originally I went down to MEPS. The first day I took the ASVAB, I went back to the hotel after I took the ASVAB. Let me tell you, so there's something weird too. So, all my friends, and I've taken the ASVAB before, like once, and I always got a printout of my score, I guess the line scores, and it had all the branches on it, and all that good stuff. So this time I took the ASVAB in 2024, they didn't even give me a printout. They just told me go downstairs to the Army Liaison's office and go and speak to one of the liaisons that are down there. I did that. I went down there. They told me my score, said that I passed, and then that was it. And they said contact your recruiter. So I waited. So I think I got done taking the ASVAB around like 6. I was the only one there. And then I went back to the hotel. I got up around like 4 o'clock. We all had breakfast. We ate, and then everyone got back on like this huge freaking almost like a Greyhound bus, pretty much a Greyhound bus. And then we left, got to MEPS to do medical. Medical, like I said, was everything that they said. It's pretty much the DMV. It's hurry up to wait. But we did a commander's brief, and then we all signed some papers. We did a breathalyzer to see if anyone, I guess, was drunk or some stupid shit like that. We went upstairs, and then we all got to one line, and they had females in the front and then males in the back. At first, I was a little taken back by kind of how rude if they were civilian staff. I mean, they weren't in uniform, but, you know, they were all wearing just regular day-to-day clothes. And then I don't know, they were just kind of just rude, but I guess that's, you know, you got to kind of get used to that in the military, I suppose. I mean, you know, they got to give you that structure. So as I started processing through, you speak to them, you know, you do a bunch of these tests. They had blood, drug testing, they had vision and audio, they had a one-on-one with the doctor. And here's the weird part about that. So, like, first off, when I got in there, they tried to say I had high blood pressure, and then they tried to say that, okay, we'll go ahead and walk around a few more times, and then we'll take it again and see. And then once I did that, it was fine. So they said, okay, keep processing. So I went, I did audio, visual. They like quickly checked my ears, I guess. And then there was like a group of us. There was like probably 8 males. We went into this room where I guess they used to do the duck walk. They don't do it in there anymore. And then they just did height and weight, and that was literally it. And then from there on, I went and did blood. So if you don't like getting your blood drawn, you might hate that part. I was there with the guy that could not pee. I guess he had stage fright or something, because they take all the males in the room, and there's like a bunch of urinals, and you have to stand like 4 or 5 feet behind the urinal, and you have to pee into a cup. And then there's a window to your left-hand side, or I'm sorry, to your right-hand side, that you give it to whoever's there, and then they'll test it for drugs, and then they'll go ahead and send it off to a lab, I guess. So we did that, and then I went to do blood, and then the guy was super cool. He was super good. He's right in, right out. I mean, I was very surprised, because normally I get my blood drawn, they have to like stick me like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, what the hell? But down there at MEPS, man, they're just bam, one and done. After that, I went and I sat for like, it felt like ages, to see this doctor that we knew was in the room, but he just wouldn't come out to get anyone. And there was like a trillion dudes there that needed to be seen. Finally, he came out of the room and he said, who's ready? And I just got up and said, I'll do it, get it over with. And that's where I did the duck walk at. Like, he had me walk, like, you know, do the duck walk for maybe 2 or 3 feet, turn around, go back 2 or 3 feet, and then that was that. You know, then he just briefly checked, made me do a few, like, little things with my extremities, you know, my fingers, moving my wrist up and down. And then after that, he said that, okay, because I've been to the hospital a few times for being sick and, you know, stuff like that. So he said that he had to review these, but come to find out that I got disqualified, not permanently, but I got disqualified for a brief period of time until I was able to give them medical papers from my physician saying that, hey, you know, my lower back's okay. I had semi hurt my knee when I was working. But I don't have any issues with it, and I don't have any issues with my back. But that took about, I want to say, we're right at just about a year after I had went to MEPS, April of 2024, last year. So the reason for that was because so my recruiter submitted the waiver last year, a little bit after April, and then it took about 3 weeks to a month before MEPS told them that I was still disqualified, that I had to show proof that I didn't have any, you know, issues medically. So my recruiter had went on leave. There were some issues there. I don't want to get too much into it. You know, a few months went by. I'm still in college right now. I'm finishing up my second degree, and I kind of put it on hold a little bit because we were trying to figure out what I need to do for my medical. Trying to get seen by my physician took a while, but you know, and the video is just to give people hope, you know, to know that if you just give up, then you give up, and you won't know your potential that you could do. But just today, because my recruiter, I had re-met him again, the station commander this time. Him and I sat down. This was a few days ago. We worked everything out. I gave him all the paperwork. He literally submitted it. 2 days later, MEPS told him that I was approved for my medical waiver, that I was good to process through now, and I can list. So, you know, for anyone out there that's having issues or is a little hesitant, or, you know, you get told no once and you're kind of like, well, okay, screw it, I guess that's, you know, we're done with that. Don't do that. If your goal is to get into the military, just do it. You know, even if you have to go through, like, you know, 4 or 5 recruiting stations to find that one person that's willing to work with you. You know, for me, it was pretty much, I wasn't discouraged. I mean, I did a little bit of research, and I knew that there was a possibility that, you know, MEPS would disqualify me. Mostly, to be honest with you, a lot of people I talk to, they disqualify them for the littlest things. I mean, I don't know what's going on with them up there. I hear stories that MEPS is supposed to disqualify people, but yet they don't disqualify people at times. So I don't know. But I mean, my experience at MEPS wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It was kind of in between. You know, it was definitely an experience. And I think that, you know, if you're really trying to get into a branch and join the military, to better yourself, you know, whether that be for education or the experience, or, you know, because you're not working and you want something different to travel, you know, the military is a good option for you. And like I said, I mean, just because they disqualify you doesn't mean that they'll permanently disqualify you. And when I was talking to my recruiter, he was telling me, he would show me and say, look, MEPS wouldn't just say all of this if they were going to disqualify you. They would literally just give you like 1 or 2 lines and say disqualified. And, you know, that's how you would know that you're basically permanently disqualified. So, you know, try to figure out what to do if you're in the situation where MEPS has like disqualified you. I don't know the whole list of what they could disqualify you for. I mean, I'm sure if you're missing toes and fingers or, you know, stuff like that, they'll disqualify you. But then again, I hear, at least for the Army, there's waivers for everything. So I don't know about other branches. But at least for me, I mean, I was able to obtain a waiver. So I don't see why no one else wouldn't be able to obtain a waiver. I know, and I got this huge beard, but I'm going to be shaving it before I leave. I was going to do a separate video on MEPS itself, but I guess I'm not going to do that. But pretty much, I just kind of feel like, as long as you're doing what you want to do, then that's all you should be doing. Because, if your dream or hope is to enlist, I mean, go for it, man. There's no reason to shop around too. Maybe the Marine Corps is a better fit for you, or the Coast Guard, or the Navy, or the Air Force. But for me, I've always kind of liked the Army, so that's the goal that I wanted to obtain, and now I'm obtaining it, and I'm pretty excited for it. We're going to be talking about jobs here, which actually, keep note real quick, because I'm going to do another video on that. But when him and I were discussing jobs yesterday, he showed me, now I don't know if this is new or not, but I mean, because I've had buddies that went to the Army, and they said that they literally got told where they were going to go after basic training and AIT. Once they pretty much got out of basic training, they were going to be, that's when they were told, hey, you're going to go to Fort Lewis, or, wherever. But now you could pick where you want to go. I was kind of taken back by that. I didn't know that. So when him and I were looking at certain jobs had certain duty stations, and I could pick through those. Just like they had bonuses for lengths of terms of contracts, like 4-year, 3-year, 6-year. Had a $24,500 bonus. I believe 8-year, or I'm sorry, not 8-year. I believe 4-year had an $8,000 bonus for this one job that I was looking at. And like some of the duty stations, where there was one in Korea, there was one at Fort Polk in Louisiana. Fort Benning. So there, I mean, I don't know if this is the new Army or how the military is going for the future, but I mean, so far that's kind of cool to know that you could select a job, an MOS, get a bonus, and then on top of it, you can also pick which duty station you want to go to. So if you have a family, you could say, you could talk to your family, your wife, and say, hey, okay, well, we're going to go, how do we feel about, JBLM, which is Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington, or how do we feel about Fort Riley? I mean, those are things that you can, select and know that you're going to go there and prepare for it ahead of time. So I thought that was really, really neat, that the Army at least does that. So, I guess, do your research, see, study for the ASVAB. Make sure you study for the ASVAB. That's a huge thing, because that determines, your line scores, whether you even get in or not, because you need at least a 31 to get into the Army. So, and other branches are different. I think the Air Force is like a 36. So, just make sure you do your due diligence. Now, college credit too will help you. Like, instead of going in as a fuzzy, they call it, where you don't have any rank, pretty much you're just an E1. If you have 15 semester units or above, you'll go in as like an E2. Like for me, for instance, I have 2 degrees right now, 2 college degrees, and I'm going to go in as a PFC because I don't have my bachelor's degree. Had I had my bachelor's degree, I could have went in as a specialist, which I would probably do one contract as a specialist maybe, and then I would go definitely the officer route, had I had my bachelor's degree right now, but I don't. So, but I did make PFC. I guess that's better than nothing. So, there's that. But yeah, I guess I'll end the video, but I just wanted everyone to know that, there is still hope out there. Just make sure that you're not giving up. Don't give up. Never give up. I mean, I believe Thomas Edison once said that, it could take someone, many times before you figure out how, to find that one way to make it work. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if it was Thomas Edison. I believe it was, but I could be wrong. So don't beat me up in the comments if I was wrong on that. But yeah, so, don't give up, and, stick with it. But I'll make another video at some point too. All right.